You didn't have to say it.
Yeah, there we go.
Say something.
Okay, I can hear it now. It's echoing through yours and stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
All right, sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, let's
We're-
try it again.
Yeah, we're all set here. I wanted to start off by saying thank you, everybody. We have hit 500 subscribers, 501 to be precise. I'm so thankful. That is awesome.
It's all pretty much organic, you know?
Yeah.
I think I posted a video at the very beginning a long time ago.
Yeah, that was it.
And that's pretty good, you know? Slowly but surely getting it out there.
They didn't get to hear the cats.
Yeah, good.
So, yeah, there's that.
Um,
So today's episode is gonna be full packed with all kinds of stuff. We got some video. We got a lot of talking points to go over. I told you guys this week we were gonna delve into Charlie Kirk and everything that's gone on so far with it.
yeah, we took a break last week.
Yeah.
And we're back. Definitely want to do like people's reactions and the
Yes.
disgusting things that they posted just like hours after, you know, and like how
Yeah, and we've got
callous
we've
and
we've
cruel
got a
people can be, you know?
we've got a lot of that's the problem, but we don't have it set up at this moment. So we'll be doing a video on that.
We got local reactions.
Yes.
We got all kinds of stuff, and it's just like I mean I was going through it, and it's just really hard
It is.
to see that. It's just like it's gross. I mean, they're showing the body.
I know.
The moment of death. The moment of death. You know.
Yes, and it's just, I can only imagine for his kids, for his wife.
I know. That's why it's like in a situation like that, you gotta stay off the internet.
Yeah,
stay
you
off
do.
The internet like forever. I mean,
Yes.
because it's like I can't even imagine 10 years down the line going and seeing that and knowing that. You know?
No. And I mean, for her to have gone to the what do you call it, funeral, and to say the things that she said was
Yeah,
just amazing.
That's another thing that I want to bring up today about the conspiracy theories and stuff because it is pretty telling.
Yeah,
Like, I don't know, you know, we'll get around to it.
We
but,
will.
Like, I guess are you ready to start talking about that right now?
oh yeah,
Okay, so I guess like what I'm thinking is, the minute that I heard about it, I thought they murdered him. Like they did it. Like his own people, his own side did it on purpose. Some people are saying, you know, oh, he faked his death, but I don't think so. I mean, in order for it to be real, you know, they have to really do it.
yeah.
And I don't think he had any idea that it was coming. It was just, but I do.
No, he had no idea.
I
It was
do honestly feel that one, the school shooting, and then the shootings that we had today, I think they're all interrelated, and I think that it's honestly, it could be the right doing it to force patriotism, make people come together, make people unified against the perceived evils that they have.
and it's working.
It is. It is. Like,
Watching the
that gave me
funeral,
chills, dude.
everybody singing in sync was just something else too.
Yeah, I was saying like I'm not usually into that. That doesn't usually get me because like my friend, she showed me stuff like that all the time, and it was just like I don't know, it just seemed kind of fake to me. But this one gave me chills, and it made me want to cry. It was like you could feel the love, the unity, and everything. So,
I know it very much so. It's
I do understand it. I understand why, like, you know, political pawns, you know, sometimes martyrs are needed, and I get
that
it.
is very much true. Very much needed.
So that's where I'm at. I'm leaning to think that it was done by his own people for a bigger cause.
Yeah, because I mean, even the text messages that they have of the shooter and his boyfriend, quote unquote. I mean,
Right.
it's just all
Yeah,
it's all laughable.
Yeah, I'm honestly not thinking that that's the government because, like you said, if the government did it, it'd be perfect. It would be spot on for the way teenagers talk and stuff. But like, it isn't real.
It's weirder. JP went over more text messages I think that they released, and these are even more laughable. It's worse than what we saw.
Oh,
Yes.
That's right. I didn't know that.
It's more, oh, well, why'd you do it? Oh, I did it because, I was brainwashed by the left. And
Dude, doesn't that sound just like the shooter's manifesto from the? It was like,
yeah,
it's the same thing. I brainwashed myself. I was made to believe that I wanted to be trans and all of this stuff. That sounds exactly the same.
Yeah.
See.
I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. And, I mean, it's possible, but it just,
Yeah. That's weird. That's weird.
yeah. So, let's see. Do you have videos or?
You just saw them.
Yeah, I know. I'm saying you want to go into them now.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have them.
Yeah.
I'm still recovering.
I just put them in the playlist. Remember, you have a special playlist.
No, I know. I didn't know if you wanted to continue talking or if.
I have the videos, yes.
I'm still recovering from the damage that fucking Saturday did to me. My whole face.
All right, let's get into this one. This one looks.
Is this
the first one? It's the Explained 5.
Yeah, I haven't really previewed these, but I mean, I did preview them. They don't have a lot of footage and stuff, which is what I didn't want to see it.
Yeah, I know.
Last
Me
one
either.
does have a lot of footage, but.
So yeah, we'll be very careful as we're going over these. I really don't want to show that much of the footage of what happened to him. It's not important. I mean, so many people can be like, oh well, look at this, look at that. That's really not
The only
important at all to me.
The only thing that I saw was this poor kid in the crowd who made that connection of what was going on.
Yeah.
And his face just turned white, and
I know. And that's really sad, and it's like, that's one of the biggest things I believe for this set of people and like a lot of the school shootings is that so many witnessed this.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was seen.
Yes.
It cannot be unseen.
Right. There's two events that have stuck with me, and the other one was the JFK assassination.
Yeah.
And it's like I feel and I empathize with all the other shootings, and I can't imagine the fear that
I couldn't either.
The kids went through, or the pain of the parents. It's like I can imagine that fully, but to see it, to see that moment of death, to see the soul separate from the body at that exact moment, it's just it's eerie.
Yeah, it is. It gets you. All right, I'm going to mute this one and we'll be going on to the videos.
Would Israel be behind that too? I mean, that would be equally ridiculous. If it was Ben Shapiro on Wednesday, people would be saying, Israel did it. Shapiro was about to become a national socialist. Like, what? It's crazy.
Now this brings us to the conspiracies. Obviously, the first one, write the Jews, Josh. Just write the Jews. And he is writing, 2 O's. Very nice. Early E-bomb.
You don't get banned, I guess.
Now, and to be clear, here's the problem. There are many different variations of Israel did this. And I can't tell you 100% that is verifiably untrue. I cannot say that. I genuinely can't say that because we don't have all of the information. I don't think it's very likely. And there's a lot of misrepresentation, including of their own champions for this conspiracy theory out there. Some people are trying to say that Tucker Carlson's speech at the memorial was alluding to Israel playing a role, and before you go to the clip, playing a role in Charlie Kirk's assassination. Here's the thing, very important context too, as off-putting as this clip will seem to some, he's actually not addressing Charlie Kirk in this context. He's talking about Jesus,
yes.
And then he drew an analogy
right
to Charlie Kirk. Because again, a lot of people think he's saying, so people eating hummus, you know what that means, and let's kill Charlie Kirk. He's talking about the crucifixion of Christ and how it backfired. But here's the clip.
So it's about 2,000 years ago in Jerusalem, and Jesus shows up and he starts talking about the people in power, and he starts doing the worst thing that you can do, which is telling the truth about people, and they hate it. and they just go bonkers. They hate it, and they become obsessed with making him stop. This guy's got to stop talking. We've got to shut this guy up. And I can just sort of picture the scene in a lamplit room with a bunch of guys sitting around eating hummus, thinking about what do we do about this guy telling the truth about us? We must make him stop talking. And there's always one guy with the bright idea, and I can just hear him say, I've got an idea, why don't we just kill him? That'll shut him up. That'll fix the problem. It doesn't work that way.
Okay. Now, I'm, again, in defense of Tucker.
Right.
He was talking about, again, people say, oh, Hamas. He's talking about people who in Jesus' time would have come up with the brilliant idea to crucify Jesus. I don't know if you know this. Hummus would probably be something there in the Middle East, along with olives and figs.
I don't typically think of the Jews when I think of hummus, but Tucker is drawing an analogy. He's saying, and he goes on right after that to say, that's not what happens. This is inverted. When they tried to silence the message of Christ, and to be clear, people out there that are saying Jesus wasn't going after them, yes, he was. He was telling the truth about how whitewashed tombs were over here. These people were a brood of vipers. Like, he was going after the Sanhedrin, the rulers of that time, telling truth about what they believed and what they didn't believe. So Tucker's he's spot on in his analogy here. Yeah. Saying that it absolutely backfired and the message just spread more, saying they tried to silence Charlie's message the very same way. Not meaning that the Jews did, but people did.
Saying that it's backfired.
Right. And then there's this other thing I just want to clarify really quickly. And I understand that people get like off the board. Ian Carroll and Candace Owens have gone way further on talking about the Jews maybe have done this.
Than Tucker Carlson.
Yeah, than Tucker Carlson.
Yes.
To try to shoehorn this into Tucker saying the same thing is difficult. I understand it. But look, one of the other things is like saying that Jews weren't responsible for Jesus's death. Of course, the Sanhedrin was the body that turned Jesus over to be crucified by the Romans.
Right.
So yes, the Roman Gentiles killed Christ, even though Pilate said he found no fault with him, but it was the ruling party that did it. You have to be able to acknowledge history and not be accused of a blood libel as well. So I'm not sure why there's so much going back and forth on this particular clip other than the crazy laugh.
Right.
That to me is the most off-putting thing that happened in the entire thing. It's like that laugh is never appropriate in any context.
Well, because there's a pause. There's a pause between his own statement and a laugh, which comes across as disingenuous.
And there's also not a laugh from the audience.
Yes, that's true.
It's like nervous energy, I guess, for him. I don't know what it is.
It comes across like evil villain laugh.
Or crazy.
It did. It came across as villain.
Yeah. I'm not saying he's crazy. I'm just saying it sounds
villain
crazy.
in his lair talking to himself.
Inspector Gadget, I will ruin your helicopter jacket.
You're like, oh, that's the evil laugh. Yeah. We're not laughing. And you waited a second before you said it. All right. Also, we do have just some other images to give credence to the idea that he was wearing potentially a plate carrier. Can you bring this up?
Yep. So
these are the images well before the shooting where people are pointing to saying it looks like he might have been wearing something.
Yeah.
Okay. A couple of these. Now, again, that could just, and it's tough to know because they're soft. There are soft plates. There are hard plates. They're approved, being familiar with these for different types of threats, right? You have 3A, which is, I think, up to 44 Magnum, and then level 3, which is up to certain rifle calibers, and level 4 is what you really need to stop some of the higher velocity steel core bullets. So at the very least, it doesn't seem like he would have had level 4. Mm-hmm. But it could alter the trajectory of the bullet. In other words, there are a lot of maybe, could be, but it doesn't mean that it is. So Tucker did that. And again, I want to defend that is not what he was saying there at all. And hopefully he'll clarify. I don't think that he should be tarred and feathered with an opinion that he didn't express. Others online have been far more clear. They believe Israel, Mossad did it because this is, of course, the hallmark of Mossad, a bolt action antique Mauser 30-06 with a poorly mounted scope. That's what they send their special agents out with.
They got a small budget.
Yeah, exactly.
That's true.
They're recycling weapons.
Yeah, they just sort of, when it comes to intel or false flags, they just like, they're a little bit ham-fisted.
Halfway.
Forgive the
ham-fisted. That's not what they are. That was a little underhand.
That was a little bit just to send some of the Jews' way. Now, of course, Candace Owens, and this is, again, not an indictment. Some people may be genuine. Some people may be operating with information that is incomplete. And there are some people who may be pushing false information. And it may be a little column A, column B, column C. Candace Owens, of course, is one of the more mainstream voices, or one who is mainstreaming this idea that Charlie Kirk was taken out by, in one capacity or another, them Jews?
In the Hamptons, and he had more than one event, but he had essentially what was staged, an intervention was staged by Bill Ackman, because Charlie's rational thoughts about Israel were a no-no. This is not the route that you should be going on. And Charlie was surrounded by his friends, his quote unquote friends. Bill Ackman.
Okay, now I just want to say that reviewing with Candace Owens, I take her with a grain of salt because I've heard a lot from her, and she's had a lot of issues with different things. So, I mean, I do listen because you never know what information you're going to get from people.
She just lost a lot of credibility for me with the whole French president's wife, President Macron. Remember?
Yeah.
And she said that she was literally willing to stake her career on the fact that that was a man,
Yes.
on a man, and all that. And she went to this big deep dive and everything. And now I think she's being threatened to be sued for defamation by
Yeah,
that.
she is.
And it's like, but yeah, so she's lost a lot of credibility from me, and just
Yeah.
some of the things that she said, it's kind of like, I don't know.
It's crazy. A lot of it is. I'll give her that.
Definitely file it away for maybe, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I still listen.
Was very upset, and threats were made.
Now, we've already addressed that because Bill Ackman did address it. The producers did address it. And of course, we showed some of the clips where Charlie Kirk was critical of those representatives telling him that he couldn't even question some Israeli policy as far as government. All of that we covered in an episode last week. Please go check that out. But Candace Owens also suggested it could have been, by the way, the Macrons, and she has the receipts to prove it. Yes.
Oh.
The next receipt will be whether it's red or not. As a completely, by the way, completely as an aside here, I don't want to go down the rabbit hole, but who here had a head of state in the Miss Macron having to show her snatch in court to prove that she's a woman in a lawsuit against Candace Owens on their political bingo card this year? Ooh. See, I don't think that's convincing.
That's not.
I think it makes me
go in the other
side
way,
with Candace.
Yeah, Candace might be right.
Who added the ooh?
I thought that was you,
Josh.
No.
You know who it was.
Here's the truth on this conspiracy. Like we said, there's really no basis for it. Bill Ackman, Charlie's producer, both responded in detail refuting the claim. Does that mean, I get it, he said, she said, Gentile said, Jew said. But you have to, again, look at everything that we have, what we know, the time, the history, the backlog of this person being radicalized, which, and I want to be very clear here, this is important. This is not a game if we are being hunted. And by that, I mean, you're just one step away. You're just one viral clip or tweet away from being the next trophy on someone's mantle. You guys understand that, right? In other words, is it too far-fetched to believe that the left can be radicalized to the point of violence? Well, you saw the Summer of Love. You saw the attempted assassinations on Donald Trump. You've seen this year in and year out. So Occam's razor is the left is violent. And the left's reality is so warped that, my God, they might even celebrate en masse this kind.
Okay, you were just saying.
So Occam's razor is a principle in which the main idea is the simplest explanation is most likely to be the truth.
Okay, yes.
And so it's like, well, it is possible that, like, the right did this themselves because they wanted a martyr and it's all set up and all these people know about it. Is it that, or was there just a pissed off left-wing extremist that decided to take him out? Which one seems more likely, right?
Yeah.
So Occam's razor is the principle of that.
Okay. Good to know.
of assassination. I mean, even just look at that. This is me talking, opinion. I don't see overwhelming celebration from the Jews or people in Israel at all over the death of Charlie Kirk. I see it from the left. I see more than 50% of the left justifying it in some capacity, according to the recent YouGov poll. So the simplest explanation is, wouldn't the group of people, many, many tens of millions in this country, who were gleefully celebrating the assassination of Charlie Kirk be most in line with the person who carried it out? It doesn't seem implausible to me at all. As a matter of fact, it seems heartbreakingly predictable in that we saw this coming in one capacity or another. And this theory, to many, is ridiculous, to even the point that Nick Fuentes himself, who is not known as a huge fan of the Jews, said this can't be taken seriously.
Time to wake up, guys. Some of this, I'll be the first one to say, the conspiratard schizo thing, it's getting a little out of control. And that's coming from me. I mean, it's like we are truly through the looking glass. When Charlie Kirk is assassinated, people blame Israel. I, who fought Charlie Kirk because he was pro-Israel, am being said to, I'm being said to be covering up that he was killed for this miraculous conversion. If Ben Shapiro was taken out next, and God forbid, would Israel be behind that too? I mean, that would be equally ridiculous. If it was Ben Shapiro on Wednesday, people would be saying, Israel did it. Shapiro was about to become a national socialist. Like, what? It's crazy.
I don't want to say a little bit of a taste of his own medicine because, you know, people were said to me, like, people have told me that my grandparents were cousins because I'm an inbred Ashkenazi. I mean, here's the thing, and this is not to insult the Ashkenazi Jews. I do not look like them.
You don't.
Generally speaking, nor do you.
No, neither do I. But when you have Dave Smith, Daryl Cooper, and Nick Fuentes sounding like the voice of reason on Israel, you're like, wait a minute. Wait, what world am I living in?
And this is not to say that Mossad doesn't carry out covert operations. They do. Yeah. By the way, so does the CIA. I know that. And one of the worst, I've talked about this, one of the worst, we'll probably have to do a segment on this, is the French. When it comes to espionage, I think that's the reason it's called espionage. It's the French word for it. They're dicks.
They started it, yes.
They're really, really bad at it. And you could honestly, if you're going to say, hey, an international agency being, you could argue the French would have more of a vested interest in destroying the voice of someone who is anti-socialist in this country, has been descending into socialism for many, many decades. You could make that case too. I want to be very clear as well. Mrs. Erica Kirk, please don't hang me on if I say Mrs. Erica Kirk is going to be discussing these claims on the show with Alex Clark at TPUSA. I believe that's later this evening. I think it's 6 p.m. It's called Apothecary, I think, the show. So Miss Erica Kirk will be there addressing this. And I also know that many people out there, there's nothing, they will say, well, she's compromised. She has to say this because no matter what she says. I think that her word counts for a lot in this.
Yeah.
Especially in tandem with TPUSA, producers, organizers. I would give that more weight than people online who've clearly already gotten one or two facets of this story wrong. This brings us to conspiracy number 2 out there. And this is one that you've seen, the reassembling and disassembling gun. This has been out there. And just to be clear, the clip I'm about to show you, this person is someone who I've watched a few times, is usually very good. I don't believe that this person is being dishonest. I want to be clear. I don't want to get into some kind of urinating contest. I just think that, like many of you, they have some information that all of us sort of assume to be true. And then once you do some digging and search, you find out it's based on nothing. But this idea that there is no way the shooter could have assembled the gun on the roof, then disassembled it, gotten off the roof, and reassembled it before throwing it into the woods because a screwdriver was left on the roof. So this is the disassembling, reassembling gun, and it's used as a linchpin for some of the conspiracies out there. Here's a clip and then a collage.
So what the FBI is also telling you is that he reassembled the rifle before he dumped it in the bushes as he's fleeing the scene of a murder. How'd he reassemble the rifle if he accidentally left his screwdriver up on the roof?
And you're seeing this all over X. people echoing this. This one is really simple. No one, and I haven't seen this from the FBI, no one has said that he disassembled the rifle right after the first shot, that he reassembled it. As a matter of fact, can we roll that footage again of him jumping off the rooftop? The story, whether you believe it or not, the story that has been told is that he assembled the rifle, put it back together. There's some debate over whether it was a scope or actually the rifle itself. Kind of can be separated into two main components to simplify this. I know there'll be some gun autists out there who will argue, but you know what I'm saying. It looks like he jumps off this roof with a rifle in a towel that seems to be fully assembled, and there's nothing unreasonable about that.
I can fast forward.
Yeah, fast forward to the zoom in part, please.
It's coming up. Yeah.
Okay. So you guys see that there?
Yeah.
All right. But I am finding, and you guys can let me know if there's something official from the intelligence community, because again, I've said they've done a horrible job. If they're putting that out there, then they deserve to be called on it, because that makes this whole thing.
All right. Yes. I mean, I see the gun. I see it fully there. It's in some kind of like towel or something, but it looks fully assembled. So, I mean, I've never heard of anybody saying that he disassembled it after the first shot. I just haven't.
I haven't. Why would you anyway? It's like,
Yeah.
I haven't heard about this theory at all.
No. And it's like, you know, with Kansas Owens, and she has a picture that was going around of this guy at like a Dairy Queen, I think it was.
Right.
But there, people pointed out that they live near that Dairy Queen, and some of the posters were not the posters that one had. They said that because it was of a Superman the movie, and they're like, that was back in July.
Oh shit.
So
maybe these pictures were taken ahead of time, or even a different place entirely, or.
Well, I think they were taken. I think they were from July, and they're just circulating back around.
Why would they be taking pictures of him?
What?
Why were people taking pictures of him back in July?
It was a security camera.
Okay. Well, shit.
And
Yeah.
so yeah.
So there is some questionable shady shit here.
Yeah, there is. You know, people want things to be something that is not so much.
Right.
That's why this goes on.
Right.
It's like more than likely, as they said, that the theory of it being the simplest thing is usually what it is.
Right.
But people are like, oh my God, no, this whole conspiracy thing, this is it. They're doing this, they're doing that. And as you cannot just write it off right away, you can't just say, yeah, that's what it is, too.
Right.
There's always more to
Okay,
it.
so the very first thing that I thought was that his, like, his, you know, quote unquote, his own side did it.
Yeah.
And it's like, but even still, that's still a simple explanation. It's just like, it is, they did it, I understand why, and I understand what outcome they're coming for.
Yeah.
And there's no sense in trying to just keep picking apart all of these details.
I know.
There was a guy on Facebook that like wrote this really super detailed thing about how he had spent hours just rewatching the footage over and over and over, and he was like able to tell that, you know, from the way that the shirt fluttered and all this, that the shooter was under the table, and it went up through the neck this way, and it's like, but where would it have gone? You know, where is the, you know? Now I'm hearing that what we actually saw was the exit move, and he was shot from behind, and like there's no way in hell, because the force would have knocked him on his face.
Exactly.
Just like you saw him get knocked back, he would have gone forward. So it's like they come up with this shit.
Well, and it's like, from what my understanding of how he got shot, too, is that I'm being told, like by Steve, by a couple other people that know these guns,
Right.
there would have been an exit wound.
Right.
There's no way that the bullet would have just lodged in the neck.
Right. They said that it, quote unquote, came to rest just under the skin.
And it wouldn't.
I just don't see that.
No.
Not to mention that it took a trained person to do this. You didn't just get lucky
No.
to do that. And what kind of experience did this guy have? Did he shoot regularly? Did he
Yeah.
have a hunting license? Did he do anything like that? Or, that's what sticks out in my mind.
For sure.
Weird.
Very, very weird. And then the gun, I mean, I hope we have something on messages. But I don't. On the text messages.
If we don't, you can go and.
Yeah, we'll find them. But that's some of the most interesting stuff, in my opinion.
It is.
Just seeing what they say, and it's like.
No, it is. It doesn't feel genuine. It doesn't feel genuine.
No.
We have a young son. He has friends that are about between that age group, and it's like that's not how they.
No, it's not. All right, let's get this one done.
Far less believable as a story.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not seeing anywhere that he disassembled, reassembled it on the roof, and then disassembled it again, which actually means I want to jump to another conspiracy because it ties into that. So if you guys can follow me here, it is the outfit change. So we'll call it number 3, but it's actually number 4. Because in combination, these two have been used to suggest, well, how did he do all this? Changing outfits, assembling a gun, shooting, disassembling the gun, changing an outfit on the roof, then jumping off, changing outfits, but no one's saying that.
Right.
This is a game of telephone where people hear the perverted, the bastardized version of telephone and then go, well, that doesn't seem reasonable. And I agree with you. If you believe that that was the story or the timeline, yeah, what you're being presented with, a falsehood, would make sense. So the next conspiracy, number 3, is that the shooter changed outfits so many times, but there's no footage. Let me read this. This is the magical outfit changes. Yeah, there you go. This is a post on X. This is how stupid they think you are. Charlie Kirk shooter wore one set of clothes to the shooting, quote, changed clothes on the roof before he fled, quote, without being seen on camera changing, and then changed clothes at home after he fled, just before he hanged, I think means changed his clothes again. So let's look at this. This would mean he wore one set of clothes to the shooting. Let's count this. Give me a ding. 1 outfit. Changed clothes on the roof before he fled. 2 outfits. Without being seen on camera. Then changed clothes at home before he fled.
After he fled.
After he fled, sorry. Number 3. Just before he changed his clothes again. 4.
What?
Okay.
Where are they getting that?
Well, so someone put in quotes, which is not an actual quote.
No, none of it's a quote.
None of it's a quote. So 4 outfit changes.
Unless they're quoting themselves.
Yeah. Here's the thing. According to what I have seen and the footage, there are only 2 outfits. And the only change that would have needed to take place would have been between that outfit, number 1, 8:07 a.m. and 11:49. And then maybe 1 outfit change, if that Dairy Queen photo is proven to be correct, within the span of 7 hours or so. But we're only really looking at this record here and seeing 2 changes. And they justify this theory from this clip, Utah governor, who I believe misspoke, just as I did earlier, as we often do, saying, yeah, the 1 outfit, and then the other outfit changed, on the roof, saying the different outfit on the roof. Watch this clip.
When he's first spotted on campus, he has different clothing on, and then he changes clothing on the roof, and then changed back into that clothing at some point, so that when he was apprehended, when he was arrested, the clothing matched the clothing he had on before the shooting here at UVU.
So again, play that again. I'm trying to be gracious here. That just seems like someone saying, a different outfit there on the roof. Play it again.
When he's first spotted on campus, he has different clothing on, and then he changes clothing on the roof, and then changed back into that clothing at some point, so that when he was apprehended, when he was arrested, the clothing matched the clothing he had on before the shooting.
Now,
here at
pause one. So apprehended was the next day,
right?
At his parents, the next day. In other words, he's just saying you could have changed back to the clothing that you saw that morning before the next evening. And when he says change clothing on the roof, sounds like what he's saying to me. It's not a direct quote saying we know that he changed his outfit on the roof. He's saying you see the different outfit that you saw when he was on the roof
versus the earliest that we have at 8 a.m. So, and it's very clear that that's what he's trying to say. Just to give you some other data. We played that, but when we saw him on that same ring camera at about 11:49, 11:50, he was in the same clothing that he ended up taking the shot with.
It seems
right?
we can't confirm exactly, but let's play that again.
Yeah.
This is the clip Limp Shooter V2. Let's play that so you see this is him walking at 11:49, 11:51. Right?
Yeah.
There he is.
Looks to be in the same clothing.
Looks to be in the same clothing because it's all black.
Pants.
Right?
Whole deal.
Relatively flowing pants, whatever you want to say, and then show clip Shooter Jump V3, which again, please. Doesn't look to be any different of an outfit, and certainly does not look like the outfit that he was wearing at 8:07 a.m.
Which was like shorts and I think a different colored shirt too.
So unless you are taking that clip of that governor saying that as literally he changed in outfit on the roof, you only need to understand for the official story, whether you accept it or not, is that at 8:07 he had one outfit, and he changed outfits at some point between 8:07 a.m. and 11:49 a.m. until he carried out the shooting and ran away.
Yeah, which is very reasonable.
That, by the way, that would be me every day because I go, if I go to the gym,
it's true.
I'm going to change an outfit. Yeah. Were you about to say something, Noodles?
They just sent in. They have the limp walk video isolated on the left versus the two that actually came from the school camera.
Okay, so again. Same outfit.
Yeah.
Same outfit. Him walking, ring camera footage. Same outfit. Him getting to the roof, jumping off the roof. And here's what is important. You would have to make an intellectually inconsistent leap to say, no, I believe 100% that he changed outfit. That's the story that he disassembled, reassembled, and changed out. How could he disassemble the rifle on the roof, change outfits, and jump off that fast? Well, it doesn't look like the rifle was disassembled when he jumped off, and it doesn't look like his outfit was any different than he walked up with a rifle in an outfit and jumped off in the same outfit with a rifle and a towel. I believe me, it pains me. I don't trust our intelligence agencies, and I think that the FBI has done a horrible job in communicating this, and they could put a lot of this to bed. But all of that honestly seems like the most reasonable course of action for someone doing this.
Yeah. And he has plenty of time to do all of this. That's why it would be a problem, is because he doesn't have enough time.
Right.
To do all these things. If it is disassembling the rifle after the shot, taking time to change clothes and do that multiple times. He has plenty of time in this timeline to do everything that he did. Plenty of time.
Yes. And again, if you look at shootings or you look at people carrying out crime, the first thing they do is change outfits once they're away from the scene of the crime.
Yeah.
So 7 hours seems like a reasonable amount of time to put on some basketball shorts or whatever the hell. All right. Here's the next conspiracy, number 3. And by the way, we're going to stay wide with this and then take your chats on Rumble Premium. Mug Club is Rumble Premium. You can click that button and join. We're not able to do any of this if not for you. I hope you understand why we started late today. It is very important that we get this right. Oh, sorry. It's conspiracy number 4. I'm sorry. That's right.
It's number 3 on our list, but we changed them.
Yeah, because the outfit and disassembling kind of ties together. Conspiracy number 4, the disappearing bullet. And you see this from a lot of people saying, there's no way this was not a 30-06 from a rooftop sniper. There's no way that's the case.
The bullet is coming in from somewhere in this direction or somewhere in this direction.
What appears to be the bullet coming down, and it does line up with the actual gunshot itself.
I would say it's a smaller caliber than a 30-06. A 30-06 would make a much bigger hole. It hits bone and it projects itself outward.
No, I'm not even disagreeing that in general that would be true.
Right.
It's not an uncommon caliber for hunting. I mean, I have plenty of relatives who've hunted with 30-06 and killed many deer. And usually it leaves a very large exit wound. Just as surely, I mean, relatives who will tell you that sometimes bullets do weird things, and sometimes there isn't an exit wound, or sometimes the entrance wound, it looks like the deer was hit by a car. I was there one time. I was shocked. I remember my uncle shot a deer, and they said, "Whoa, what'd you do? You run it over with your truck?" Because it was just, he just hit it at a weird soft tissue angle. So this wasn't helped at all by the surgeon who worked on Charlie at the hospital. And there was, I believe, someone who was a producer releasing this on X saying, I have permission to do so, where he said his bone was so healthy and the density was so impressive that he's like the Man of Steel. It should have just gone through and through. It likely would have killed those standing behind him too. He's talking about how it was a miracle. First off, if it's a miracle, then you can't, it defies science and reason. But again, this doesn't seem like super responsible.
It's difficult. It just needs to say that it's there. that they have
Right.
the bullet there. And I think what he was trying to say is that, that other people could have been killed behind him if it had gone through the tent to the back. There were people standing back there, they said.
Right.
So it could have gone back there and killed people. It's fine to say that, that it didn't exit, but you don't have to go into that.
But they have the round?
I don't.
That's what's implied by the.
He said he found it under the skin.
Okay.
He said he did?
Yeah.
Okay. So he said he did.
Again, last report.
Again, these are the things where it's like, these aren't official reports.
Yeah.
That's the problem with things on social media where they're not necessarily verified. But he said that he found it under the skin. I saw that in the report. I don't know if that's really
Correct,
official.
yeah.
It
We'll have
could,
to wait.
because it could also be a fragment.
Right.
Right. It could also, there are a multitude of explanations. And you even talked about this, how, again, you saw the original footage.
Yeah.
When people say, oh, if it's a 30-06, it guaranteed would have decapitated him. Well, that's silly.
Yeah.
It wouldn't guarantee decapitate him.
No, it's not a guaranteed decapitation. I think it's probably unlikely to decapitate him. But rounds can do all kinds of crazy things, depending on how much it's. How many times you hear a doctor say, "Oh, it was millimeters away from killing you. You were millimeters away from surviving."
All right, I had to stop here for a second. This is interesting. I haven't heard a lot of this information about the bullet and about where and everything. So I would have thought that the bullet would pierce through, especially in the neck. But as they said, weird things happen.
But if it ricocheted off of a bulletproof vest and the bulletproof vest might have slowed it down.
Yeah, for sure. That's very possible.
Do we know yet if he was in fact wearing a bulletproof vest?
No, but they do. These guys did say that it looks like it
It does kind of. I see what they're talking about.
because it's puffed up and yeah.
But why wouldn't they say that? Why?
According to Ben Shapiro, is that it was required.
Right, but why wouldn't they bring that out in the press, like directly from the side of the?
I don't know. The official report hasn't even been released yet. That I haven't seen, at
But
least.
still, usually they will talk about, he was wearing Kevlar.
Yeah. But maybe there's just more that they're covering about it. Maybe it was a worse shot, or I don't know.
Yeah, that's weird.
It's very interesting to me. It's like.
I said, but it's like, it doesn't matter. We can speculate. Everybody can speculate.
Yeah.
All they want. We are never gonna know the truth. It's always gonna be held from us.
Yeah.
So at this point, it's just kind of like you have to make up your own mind what you think happened. But
You really do. Yes.
It's a lot like the 9/11 thing. It's like we'll never know.
No.
We'll never know for sure, like what the government's motivation was, if they were directly involved, if they were indirectly involved. If they
Yeah.
knew, if they didn't, we're just never gonna know.
We won't. No.
It's one of those things, shit. How many years for the John F. Kennedy files to be released, and they were just finally released, and they still didn't really release everything.
I know.
They didn't. It didn't happen. It just.
Epstein files are supposed to be released, and those aren't being released.
We're never gonna know.
No.
So the best advice that I have is just live your life and live it well.
Yeah. Just know somebody took him out.
Yeah.
I've heard whole conspiracy things of there was a trap door under his chair that's on that stage and this and that, and it's like.
Yeah, that's a possibility. It's kind of like when John F. Kennedy died. They saw her going to visit a hospital multiple times.
Yeah.
Afterwards, and then they started visiting an island somewhere after that. So,
yeah.
There is always that possibility, but in my experience, it seems that, like I said, the martyr only works if you're actually murdered.
Yeah.
It's like a blood debt that has to be paid.
Because the thing is that we have so much for the paparazzi now.
Yes, it's not the same as it was in the 60s,
Yeah, and the paparazzi will find out.
Yeah,
you're not going to keep it from them because that's their job.
The Freedom of Information Act is going to, you can go and give people's body cam footage or security footage from buildings and stuff. So, it only works if it's legit.
Yes, exactly.
That's much as I would like to think that would be great, that he could be alive and have his family and stuff. I just don't see that. I just don't see that.
And the reactions were too real.
She seems like it's hard for me to get a read on her because she's just like.
She's got a fire in her eyes,
yeah,
though.
She's like in shock, but she's almost taking it really well, and like she's able to articulate what needs to happen next and what that turning point needs to go on and everything. So it seems a little bit shady to me.
But I think also is they.
Trained, I think.
Well, and they've had these conversations.
Yeah,
I think
so too.
I think he expected something to happen. And so he was telling her, and he's like, listen, he was like, I need you to continue.
Right.
If something happens, it cannot die with me.
That's the main
Yeah.
Because I mean, we even talk about that all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Too. It's just an inevitable reality in the world that we live in, you know?
You know, and it's like us. We know damn well that we'll see each other again. Well, you know, it's not the end.
It's just like you gotta keep the legacy, you gotta keep the mission.
Yes.
You know? I just don't know, like, even expecting it, I don't think that I would be able to communicate anything with anybody for months, let alone just a couple days.
I know, and that's just it. She's really put together for that. But
they are trained. I mean, they've been in the public eye, you know, she's worked behind the scenes and all this stuff, so it's probably...
And she's had her own podcast, too, for a long time. Some spiritual thing.
So they know how to speak.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
All right.
Right.
They could do a lot of different things. And when I first saw it, I thought it came from the back.
So it looked like an exit.
Does it look like an exit wound?
It did look like
but not seeing anything on the back kind of suggests that it went in right here.
Right. And like you were talking about, let's say, you know, a nick, right, would be this, where it's just, but with a 30
But it's in the
considering
neck.
how much damage it could do, if it's less than a nick, but let's say just hits the side of the tissue, not the spine, right, that could cause one large hole,
in
a gape.
In that case, you would expect to find the round somewhere else to have gone through. But if he did have, you know, some strong milk drinking bones, then maybe a fragment is left behind,
or if he did have some kind of a plate,
Exactly,
right, that could change we don't know. It doesn't
change the velocity for sure.
Or if it hit, let's say, for example, we know that we've done this, it could have hit one of the posts of the canopy that he had, right? That can, I'm not saying it would stop a bullet, but that can change the velocity dramatically.
Yeah.
And there have been far more bizarre cases of bullet behavior than this. Even though this is the one thing I would say seems unlikely for it not to have an exit wound. And I won't say seems unlikely based on the damage was so severe, guys, if you watch it. No, it wasn't a decapitation, thank God. But it was so graphic, you'll never unsee it. It was immediate blood loss that would lead to instant death.
Yeah, unless the entry wound was somewhere back here, I would expect that would be like basically an entry and an exit wound, making one big hole because of the limited space that it did hit.
Yeah. And so we don't know that, but here's something that we do know. Here's the truth, is that there have been many, many, many witnesses. So you would have to believe that many of these people are on the payroll as well, because this has then been used to act as a springboard for conspiracies of course, second shooter.
Right.
I've even seen some so crazy as it was an inside job where someone had a detonation device
on his lav.
On his lav that shot him in the neck. And by the way, I'm not just talking like you're talking about millions of people have seen this. I've seen people saying, look, they're clearly doing hand signals to take part in an inside job. Like, you can't address all of them, but here's the truth. There were many, many witnesses, and not a single one described potentially the shooter at another angle. Right? They described the shot as a single shot, sounding like a bang or a firecracker. One account, Isaac Davis, a student there, told the New York Times, it was definitely noticeable, but it sounded almost like a firecracker. I do think here this is where the actual report, the medical report, will be of significance.
Yeah.
And we don't have it yet. And you can say that you won't trust that medical report. Okay, fine.
Right.
But I certainly wouldn't trust someone who has no medical report and anything beyond the footage that you have access to.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing that I've wanted to ask people is like, I understand maybe you have some difficulty with some of the information coming out right now. But
Sure, I do too.
What's the alternative theory that you have evidence for? Not just the fact that you're thinking something else could have happened.
Right.
You know, Stu Peters was in that collage of people that said Israel killed Charlie Kirk.
All right, yes, this is one of my biggest things too. Is it's like, if you're gonna come at this saying this stuff, please have the evidence needed to back up your stance. Even if you think it, you should not be bringing it up unless you have the evidence that is needed to say, this is where I'm coming from and this is why.
Right, exactly. You know, people don't even do that when they're making their arguments anymore. They don't
No.
have the sources. So,
But that was one of Charlie's biggest things.
Yeah, come with sources.
Come with your evidence, come with sources. Show me. That's why he destroyed so many people himself on debates.
Right.
Because he had all the information. He was never one to show up empty-handed.
Right.
If he said something, he had about 10 sources to back it up. I mean, that's just it.
And it's interesting because he toured with like a couple minorities as well. You know, there was a fellow, he was running for, I don't know if he was running for president or previous American president. He was like an Indian fellow.
The Indian guy, yes.
And he went with him.
He went with him, yeah.
Did debates with him, you know, well, not with him, but, you know, like, talked to college students. and
Yeah,
stuff.
right next to him,
Yeah.
sitting there, the same.
Riley Gaines.
Riley Gaines was there.
Yeah.
Yes. That's the biggest thing. It's like, right now, the evidence has been pointing to it was the assassination of the person who did it. Now, see, that's one of the things that gets me on that is honestly what I think, if it is that scenario, I don't necessarily believe with the text messages that we saw that it was that kid.
I don't think so.
I think it was the trans boyfriend.
Yeah.
And they had to come up with this whole thing to cover it up, and that's where this whole text message is. Yes.
The fall guy.
You know, it's like, oh, I don't want you going to prison. I'll take the fall for it. I mean, it just, that seems more possible to me.
Because, like, did you know that he was, like, into furry porn, too?
Yeah, that's what they were going over. I remember seeing that.
And so it's like, it was like, yeah, I can see him saying, you know, I'll be the fall guy because they don't want to have another trans, you know, getting in trouble for this sort of stuff, you know. And
Yeah.
It's like,
Exactly right.
It's too late, dude. I mean, people are pretty riled up about that.
They are. That's exactly right. And that's why I do believe it was the scenario that we know. But like I said, I don't think it was a scenario per se we know.
Right.
I mean, he didn't mince any words about it. I'm like, okay, well, what evidence do you have that is true? Like, you're making a claim, support it. And they're not saying that this assassin didn't do it, that there was other people.
Yeah.
They're saying specifically that Israel killed him. And I'm like, okay, well, why? What happened?
Here's also the irony for me. If people are saying that, these are often the same people who were vehemently against Donald Trump hitting the nuclear facilities in Iran where there was no known collateral damage, right? The most effective.
Well, because we're doing it for Israel. That was the whole thing.
But that's my point.
Exactly.
If someone says Israel killed Charlie Kirk, that's a declaration of war. And we bombed the shit out of multiple locales as it relates to Israeli government.
Right.
Just so you know, if Israel had anything to do with the assassination of Charlie Kirk, I would be front and center saying we have to declare, they're not our allies, declare war against Israel. Comment below if you'd be in that camp.
Franz Ferdinand style.
Yeah.
There you go. And and so it's just funny to me that people who claim to want peace and that we don't want to fight wars for Israel are making a declarative statement that in any circumstance would be a declaration of war.
Yeah. I don't see how you'd get around that. And the other thing is that Netanyahu came out and they're saying he's trying to cover up by coming out and saying, hey, how bad it is that Charlie Kirk was shot. And They're like, well, why would a world leader come out and do that? And it's like, well, I don't know. Maybe he's got some people going, hey, they're blaming us again for this. And he's like, listen, we didn't have anything to do with this. This is a very sad day.
Maybe Charlie Kirk visited Israel, and it's well documented through video and pictures.
They're supposed to have had direct communication.
And he's had communications with them. In other words, it makes complete sense.
I know. It's also not crazy to think that one of our quote unquote greatest allies would speak on this. I mean, they tried to get a moment of silence. I can't remember who did it at the UN, tried to get a moment of silence for Charlie Kirk. It didn't happen, but other world leaders were obviously weighing in.
They tried to do it in our own halls, in our own house, and they said, "No." Remember that?
Well, they wanted.
That's a direct quote. Great impression.
Yeah. They didn't want to do a verbal prayer or something.
No,
something like that.
That was their official response.
It was a prayer issue because they got a lot of non-Christians on the left side.
Yeah, I don't care.
That was the longest filibuster ever. Was just some cackling bitch going, no. Here's the final conspiracy out there. And this one I kind of get. The planted text messages, right? The planted text messages. And this is where people are saying that the feds clearly planted a curated text exchange between this shooter and this blatantly homosexual, gay, trans lover to just try and wrap this all up in a nice little bow. Okay, I will say these text messages are suspect at best, but that doesn't mean that it's the feds or the Jews. This is not something, by the way, that is uncommon where people go, okay, let's get our story straight, all right, so that you don't take any of the fall. That's
right.
I don't know if you're
going to believe I didn't know you were my roommate. Okay, we got a text message thread, and I'll just make it clear.
Right, that wasn't invented with Breaking Bad. It was reflected of things that have happened many, many times in real life. So let me read you some of the texts. This is from Tyler Robinson to gay, homosexual, trans boyfriend Lance Twiggs. I am still okay, my love, but I am stuck in Orem for a little while longer yet. Why did I do it? I had enough of his hatred. Some hate can't be negotiated out. If I am able to grab my rifle unseen, sight unseen, I will have left no evidence. Only thing I left was the rifle wrapped in a towel. Remember how I was engraving bullets? The effing messages are mostly a big meme. If I see notices bulge UWU on Fox News, I might have a stroke. The point is, it seems like it also could be weird goths at a Renaissance fair.
It's true.
Did we get an update on that stroke situation?
No,
I don't know. I don't know. I hear you smelling burnt toast.
I'm hopeful.
Me too.
I want him to stay around for a while.
Here's the truth. Yes, these are very suspect, but these exchanges were not needed to establish a motive. If anything, it seems that the exchange might have been fabricated by this to protect his gay, homosexual, blatantly trans male lover. There are other text messages not being mentioned, by the way, like this one.
I'm a female.
Yes.
Come on.
You got to get all the facts before you start coming up with theories.
I don't know if you'll hold up all that well to interrogation, Gerald. Although you do like harsh lighting.
I'll be fine. Hey, really quickly, let me tie these two things together here, right? So this line of text messages seems kind of odd. It could be,
of course,
something that's, I don't think any of us looked at that and said, yeah, totally normal conversation between two gay lovers.
No, it seems like
said that, right?
Todd Sawyer book.
But so there have been kind of these innuendos that maybe there was a larger group associated with this, or at least they knew what was going on. And maybe they're trying to protect like a Discord server. There's a lot of talk about that. Do you think the FBI statement that we all looked at and go, why would you say that? Do you think that was to make them feel safe? Like, hey, this is just one lone nut that we really haven't tied to any left-wing groups. Do you think that's to make sure that these guys don't think, hey, we're onto you? Because I can't think of any other reason that the FBI would release a statement like that right now, saying, well, we can't find any evidence of him being, aligned with any left-wing groups. Like, how do you say that with a straight face?
I just think they're very imprudent and bad at their job.
That's possible.
Look at Kash Patel, where he tweeted out, I think he said at one point the shooter in custody and said the suspect has been released. There was a switch of it where it's like, well, hold on a second.
Right.
You didn't just say, in other words, there could be a suspect who is not the shooter, but a suspect involved. They have not been careful with their language.
No, and that guy was super, that's another thing.
Well, it wasn't even that guy. It was a different one. I'm not talking about the old man. I'm talking about there was another one where Kash Patel released it. So
I think that statement is kind of true, though. Right? There's no group necessarily.
As far as we know right now.
That they know. I mean, I think it's getting convoluted and misunderstood.
I think Reddit politics is a group because all of them celebrate the murder. Honestly, to me, that's enough to qualify as left-wing violence.
There's some kind of an affiliation.
If a couple of guys in hoods who, by the way, would vote for a socialist if he was white, if that's considered right-wing violence, I think people on the biggest political message board on the known internet world celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk should count as a group. Hey, have you been taking part in this group? Have you been celebrating death in this group? Then, yeah, you know what? We're going to consider you part of a left-wing extremist group.
Yeah.
They have meetups.
Yeah. Well, and so that's another thing that we don't know that I want to make sure, because honestly, now that I think about it, the two things that I need answers to, I think the most, right? I have no problem with a lot of the other things because I think there's plausible explanations. The caliber and what happened with the bullet and
yes,
whether there was an armor that it deflected, I think that question needs to be answered.
Yeah, if he was wearing body armor or
right,
not.
the medical report will help us understand that.
Yes.
And also, what's up with a guy claiming that he was the shooter immediately after? Because people are saying, oh, that was just to try to give him, time to get away. And
that's what he said.
No, I think what he said was he was trying to draw attention to the shooter or something like that.
Well, no, he said that he was trying to give the shooter time to get away. He was not there as a supporter of Charlie Kirk. A neighbor of his actually spoke with Fox News right after it happened. The guy that we had on, I forget his name, Austin or
yes,
yeah, he came on. He was the one that went over and basically tried to get in front of the camera himself to kind of stop that. But the guy had said, yeah, it's a friend of mine, and he's sure he's a little angry, and sure he's on a little medication. Yeah, he's a little crazy, but I don't think he would do this.
Listen, I don't know how crazy. Like, you could be crazy. I don't know that the first thought of anybody who's anti Charlie Kirk and even wanted to see that happen is to yell as it happens and say, I shot him.
Oh, it is for sick people.
Maybe I just don't think it'd be the very first thought, because you're standing there, you're angry at somebody. Let's say I'm angry at you and I'm looking at you and somebody shoots you. I don't think the first thing that I would do is go, it was me, so that guy could get away.
How fast?
I think you would.
How fast did the guy stand up and said, I am Spartacus?
I don't know. I think that's part of putting this thing to bed, is to kind of understand the timeline a little bit and make sure that we get the facts straight on it.
Well,
but I do want an answer to that, because I think a lot of people are running with that as a theory.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
Hey, do you like what you saw? I don't know how, because it's on YouTube and we have to cut all the good parts out. So you should tune in live weekdays at 11 a.m. Eastern on Rumble. We can still speak freely and even use words like and get and so. Whoa. You've been here this whole time?
Yeah. Snuck in.
Wow, look at that. Beautiful.
The investigation into Charlie Kirk.
All right, that was a good one. Thank you for getting that for us, Nefer. We'll be on the next one in a minute, but yes, that I agree. There's a lot of answers that need to be said. And the biggest thing, like they said, is exactly how the bullet went in and what happened.
I'm assuming that within 30 days or so we'll have a lot more information, supposedly from forensics and everything, right?
Yes, we should.
Because it's only been 10 days or something.
Yeah. And it takes at least 10 days to get the medical report.
Yeah.
And with somebody that big, it easily could be a month or two. It just depends also when Erica wants to release it.
Right.
So, however long that takes, hopefully we'll get more information and they'll tell us. It does look like he's wearing a vest.
It does. Yeah, I can see it now. Yeah.
So, it could have easily ricocheted and gone like they set up that way. I don't know. We'll see. But, yeah, and if it ricocheted, he just got unlucky.
I know. Right.
It could have easily just have stopped in the vest, but it's also, I would like to know then what kind of vest was he wearing? Was he wearing just some cheap vest that made it so that that's all it did?
Right.
Instead of something that could have stopped the bullet?
Absorbed it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So,
But
that's...
I never understood the point of the body armor like that, because, most people, when they're assassinated, they are shot in the head.
Yeah.
So I never understood unless you're going to wear, a full helmet or something,
And for most of the people that I've talked to about this, it does seem like the guy was going for the head. But the scope wasn't quite lined up, and so it got shot in the neck.
Either way, it was a damn good shot. And to
Yeah.
only shoot
One bullet, yeah.
That alone is suspect to me.
It is.
Because even when they shot at Trump, there was a spray, 5, right?
Yeah, because it killed quite a few, 2 or 3 other people.
Yeah.
a husband protected his family.
So, and nobody talks about that either.
No.
It's like, again, you guys just click this death, and all you can do is sit there and say, oh my God, I can't believe you missed. You did it. You did hit somebody. And
Yeah. And that was another father.
Yes. Yeah.
He stepped in front of the bullet so his wife and kids would not get hit. I mean, that is something else, and that's heroic.
That's the shit that's being targeted is like the family unit.
Yes.
And he was a firefighter, if I remember right.
Yes, he was.
That's a shame.
And I mean, that's heroic. That is major heroics to do. Because you don't get very many that would anymore. So, yeah, we'll get on with the second one, but it's like, yeah, I want those questions answered, too.
Yeah, that's interesting. Some of those I never heard of.
No.
Crime Network.
The what?
Law and Crime Network.
What about it?
That's what the next one is from.
Yeah, that is.
And it's the most recent one, I think it was like 14 hours ago, I think. So,
Okay.
like I said, the only thing that was fresher was an Nancy Grace from 3 hours ago. So
No.
Some of these conspiracies are getting traction, but I can't stand her stuff.
No, this one's great.
Assassination, it's heating up with the FBI director revealing new details about what they've learned and what they've probed as Kirk's family and friends lay him to rest.
I saw the wound that ended his life.
I'll share the comment from Erica Kirk that stunned the world and go through the very latest in the case. Welcome to Crime Fix. I'm Anjanette Levy. Tyler Robinson is charged with murdering Charlie Kirk, and he's in jail in Utah County, Utah, being held without bail. But just because Robinson is charged as the shooter, that doesn't mean the investigation is over. Far from it. As friends, supporters, and family of Charlie Kirk were honoring his life on Sunday, FBI Director Kash Patel sent a post out on X about what the FBI is investigating. I'll get to that here in a few minutes. The county attorney says 22-year-old Robinson confessed to murdering Charlie Kirk using his grandfather's .30-06 rifle, but there are questions about how and why Robinson made the decision to take Charlie Kirk's life. What made a one-time straight-A student and college scholarship recipient from a politically conservative family decide to take the life of a popular conservative activist because, in his own words, he spread hate? County Attorney Jeff Gray says Robinson was living with a roommate who was a male transitioning to female, and Robinson and the roommate were a couple, and that Robinson's mother told detectives that her son had moved to the left politically over the last year or so.
Robinson's mother explained that over the last year or so, Robinson had become more political and had started to lean more to the left, becoming more pro-gay and trans rights oriented. She stated that Robinson began to date his roommate, a biological male who was transitioning genders. This resulted in several discussions with family members, but especially between Robinson and his father, who have very different political views. In one conversation before the shooting, Robinson mentioned that Charlie Kirk would be holding an event at UVU, which Robinson said was a stupid venue for the event. Robinson accused Kirk of spreading hate.
Now, Gray read text messages in which he said Robinson confessed to his partner/roommate to murdering Charlie Kirk.
On September 10th, 2025, the roommate received a text message from Robinson which said, "Drop what you're doing. Look under my keyboard." The roommate looked under the keyboard and found a note that stated, quote, "I had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and I'm going to take it." Police found a photograph of this note. The following text exchange then took place. After reading the note, the roommate responded, "What? You're joking, right?" Robinson, "I am still okay, my love, but I'm stuck in Orem for a little while longer yet. Shouldn't be long until I can come home, but I got to grab my rifle still. To be honest, I had hoped to keep this secret till I died of old age. I am sorry to involve you. Roommate, you weren't the one who did it, right? Robinson, I am. I'm sorry. Roommate, I thought they caught the person. Robinson, no, they grabbed some crazy old dude, then interrogated someone in similar clothing. I had planned to grab my rifle from my drop point shortly after, but most of that side of town got locked down. It's quiet, almost enough to get out, but there's one vehicle lingering. Roommate, why? Robinson, why did I do it? Roommate, yeah. Robinson, I had enough of his hatred. Some hate can't be negotiated out. If I am able to grab my rifle unseen, I will have left no evidence.
Some thoughts can feel scarier than any true crime case, like unwanted, violent images that pop up out of nowhere or sudden, out of character urges that absolutely horrify you. Those are called intrusive thoughts, and everyone has them sometimes. But for people with OCD, information filed by the county attorney. In the last set the public knows about, Prosecutor Gray said Robinson told his partner to not talk to law enforcement if approached.
Roommate, how long have you been planning this? Robinson, a bit over a week, I believe. I can get close to it, but there is a squad car parked right by it. I think they already swept that spot, but I don't want to chance it. Robinson again, I'm wishing I had circled back and grabbed it as soon as I got to my vehicle. I'm worried what my old man would do if I didn't bring back Grandpa's rifle. IDEK, if it's had a serial number, but it wouldn't trace to me. I worry about prints. I had to leave it in a bush where I changed outfits. Didn't have the ability or time to bring it with. I might have to abandon it and hope they don't find prints. How the F will I explain losing it to my old man? Only thing I left was the rifle wrapped in a towel. Remember how I was engraving bullets? The F in messages are mostly a big meme. If I see notice bulge UWU on Fox News, I might have a stroke, all right. I'm going to have to leave it. That really.
All right, that part was what caught me. As if any of you guys didn't hear that, it was he was talking to the roommate and he said, "Remember when I was engraving bullets?" Now, why would somebody be engraving bullets and not know what you were planning with those bullets?
Well, you could just like ask.
Yeah, like, oh, why? Yeah, why are you doing that? Why are you putting that on these bullets? Why do you have the gun to begin with?
It's totally normal thing. Yeah, totally normal. Yeah, it's fine. You just sit over there. It's like it didn't even occur to me that if something was up.
See, that's why I don't believe that the roommate did not know. It just doesn't make any sense. Even if the roommate acted like they didn't know, they knew.
Right.
It is.
Effing sucks. Judging from today, I'd say Grandpa's gun does just fine, IDK. I think that was a $2K dollar scope. Wink, wink. Robinson again, delete this exchange. Again, Robinson, my dad wants photos of the rifle. He says Grandpa wants to know who has what. The feds released a photo of the rifle and it is very unique. He's calling me, RN, not answering. Robinson, since Trump got into office, my dad has been pretty diehard MAGA. Robinson, I'm going to turn myself in willingly. One of my neighbors here is a deputy for the sheriff. Again, you are all I worry about, love. That came from Robinson. Roommate, I'm much more worried about you. Robinson, don't talk to the media, please. Don't take any interviews or make any comments. If any police ask you questions, ask for a lawyer and stay silent.
Now, as far as we know, the prosecutor and the FBI consider the roommate, who we've not named, a cooperating witness. But in the wake of Charlie Kirk's murder, several conspiracy theories have made the rounds on social media, some suggesting men on the ground were giving hand signals to the shooter. The man in the white that you just saw is Dr. Frank Turek, a mentor to Charlie Kirk, who actually spoke at his funeral service.
I start FaceTiming my wife. I'm saying, look at this. This is incredible. Then I start FaceTiming my son and my daughter-in-law while Charlie sits down and begins to ask questions. Now, this is where you may have seen an internet conspiracy. The man in the white hat was giving signals to the shooter. Yeah, the man in the white hat was me, okay? I did this with my hat. Maybe I touched my nose or something while I'm holding my phone because I'm FaceTiming my son and daughter-in-law.
Now, Turek went on to say that the man in black that you saw was Charlie Kirk's main security guy. There has also been speculation that a private jet that left an airport after Kirk was shot was somehow involved in his murder. A man named Derek Maxfield was on that flight, and he posted on Instagram that it was his company's plane. Maxfield wrote, any suggestion that the flights by N88KG yesterday are in any way connected to the tragic shooting of Mr. Kirk is inaccurate, false, and without any credible basis of any kind. So yesterday, as Charlie Kirk's friends, family, supporters, and even the president and vice president of the United States were memorializing Charlie Kirk, FBI Director Kash Patel posted on X that every possibility is being investigated. Take a look. Patel wrote, as the director of the FBI, I am committed to ensuring the investigation into Charlie Kirk's assassination is thorough and exhaustive, pursuing every lead to its conclusion. The full weight of America's law enforcement agencies are actively following the evidence that has emerged, but our efforts extend beyond initial findings. We are examining every facet of the assassination. We are meticulously investigating theories and questions, including the location from where the shot was taken, the possibility of accomplices, the text message confession that I just read to you, and related conversations, Discord chats, the angle of the shot and bullet impact, how the weapon was transported, hand gestures observed as potential signals near Charlie at the time of his assassination, and visitors to the alleged shooter's residence in the hours and days leading up to September 10th, 2025. Some details are known today, while others are still being pursued to ensure every possibility is considered. Our primary focus is to complete this investigation and deliver justice. To protect the integrity of the investigation and subsequent prosecution, we cannot release every piece of information we have to the public right now. We will ensure every question is addressed at the appropriate moment. Regarding specific details, such as questions about the plane that allegedly turned off its transponder after departing from an airport near the assassination site, we can share updates when answers are confirmed. After interviews with the pilot and consultation with the FAA, we determined the transponder was not turned off. Incomplete flight data in rural areas caused the apparent gap. The entire FBI mourns the loss of Charlie Kirk. We will not rest until justice is served, and our investigation into this assassination will continue until every question is answered. Now, this is very interesting because he's diving into these conspiracy theories. Patel testified in front of Congress last week, and he said this about Discord, the messaging platform, whose spokesperson has said Tyler Robinson did not plan the crime on the site, but admitted to it after the fact on that platform.
Reports have suggested that the FBI is investigating a broader network of groups that may have had some knowledge of the shooter's plans. Can you give us any details on that? Following up what you already said in public, how's the FBI working to find other potential accomplices, folks who may have known about the shooter's plans, folks who may have encouraged him? Any update on any of that?
So in terms of
what we do for an interrogation perspective, we go and reach out to the family and community immediately. And we've conducted those investigations and interrogations with local law enforcement. And we're continuing to do that because those closest to the suspect are going to hopefully know the most about the suspect and his beliefs and his ideology. On top of that, unfortunately, it has been leaked that there was a Discord chat. And for those unfamiliar with it, it's a gaming chat room online that the suspect participated in. So what we're doing, we've already done is serve legal process, not just on Discord, so that the information we gathered is sustained and held in a evidentiary posture that we could use in prosecution should it be decided to do so. And we're also going to be investigating anyone and everyone involved in that Discord chat.
Okay, very good. I see the public reports that the Discord thread had as many as 20 additional users. It sounds like you're trying to run down all of that to see if that's accurate, who else may have been on that thread, what they may have known. Is that fair to say?
It's a lot more than that, and we're running them all down.
It's a lot more than 20?
Yes, sir.
And you're running all of that to ground.
Every single one.
Now, Erica Kirk, Charlie Kirk's widow, and now the CEO of Turning Point USA, the organization that Kirk founded when he was just 18 years old, spoke at the service about the loss of her husband.
On the afternoon of September 10th, I arrived at a Utah hospital to do the unthinkable, to look directly at my husband's murdered body. I saw the wound that ended his life. I felt everything you would expect to feel. I felt shock. I felt horror and a level of heartache that I didn't even know existed.
Now, Erica Kirk says that doctors told her at the hospital that Charlie Kirk did not suffer. And from her, the woman who is mourning the loss of her husband and left to raise 2 young children without their father, she offered his alleged murderer words of grace. Take a listen.
That young man, on the cross, our Savior said, "Father, forgive them, for they not know what they do." That man, that young man, I forgive him.
I want to bring in Mark Weaver. He is a prosecutor who practices in Ohio, but has also prosecuted death penalty cases. Mark, I want your thoughts on Kash Patel's tweet. He sends this out right in the middle of the Charlie Kirk memorial service, and he's basically saying this investigation is not over. They're investigating everything. The location of the shooting, the angle, the trajectory, of course, that will be part of the case, the possibility of accomplices, and the text message confession. The text message confession between Tyler Robinson and the roommate, it is kind of interesting. I mean, it's really stuck with me and piqued my interest looking at that, because it just seems like, first of all, not how 22-year-olds talk. And second of all, just weird that you would just spill your guts about this to somebody who's your romantic partner over text, and that the roommate's not picking up the phone and saying, "What the heck did you just say?"
This generation does more by text than by phones. We know that. Certainly a bizarre exchange, a bizarre relationship and a bizarre actions that ended up in a public assassination. I think what the FBI director is doing here is understanding that political assassinations in America have a history of conspiracy theories, with people thinking that not every lead was pursued, or that some evidence was hidden, or that there was some grand plot behind it that was never revealed. So the FBI director wants people to know that this is a case they're taking seriously. Now, it won't be federal prosecutors bringing the case. It will be state prosecutors. And in death penalty cases, as you mentioned, I've worked on these. The jurors have to first come to a unanimous verdict that the shooter is guilty, and then they have to have a separate hearing where they have to unanimously decide for the death penalty. And so by shutting down any possible conspiracy theories, the FBI director is actually strengthening the ability of the prosecution to get the death penalty unanimously by both finding the shooter guilty and recommending the death penalty.
And the FBI, of course, is assisting the Utah DPS and the prosecutors in Utah with this. They haven't ruled out the possibility of filing federal charges. They could always do that. But it seems like, why would you do that if the state's case is strong and they can get a conviction?
That's true. Now, Charlie Kirk was not a federal official. So in order for the federal prosecutors to take it, there would have to be a basis under federal law, because most crimes are state crimes. Now, sometimes prosecutors will look at the jury pool, the respective jury pool, and which one might be more open to the death penalty. When you get a federal district, you pull from a wider perspective, more people. Sometimes that might affect the decision about whether or not to pursue the death penalty in a state case, which is just the county where the crime occurred, or in a federal case, which is the entire federal district.
I want to talk now about the Discord chats. There was a Discord group chat with more than 20 people on it, is what Kash Patel told the Judiciary Committee last week. And we know that the roommate was on part of that. I talked to Discord. Discord basically told me Tyler Robinson did not plan this on Discord, did not discuss it until after the fact when he told his friends he was turning himself in. Apparently the roommate discussed with another person what Tyler Robinson had told him, but we don't really know what Tyler Robinson, who else he might have been talking to on Discord. Kash Patel said they're chasing down more than 20 people. So could he have been radicalized, Tyler Robinson, on Discord or other social media platforms? Because we have a kid who was 22 years old, a young adult, who came from a conservative family, and then his mom tells law enforcement just in the last year or so, over the last year or so, he had started to move politically more to the left and become more, pro-rights, gay rights and pro-trans rights. And she makes it sound like he had become, there had been a definite shift in his attitude and his ideology.
For centuries, mothers have said to sons, I think you're hanging around the wrong people. And up till about 30 years ago, mothers could notice physically who their sons were hanging around with. Now, with things like Discord and the internet, mothers have no idea who their sons are interacting with while they're gaming or chatting online. And so it's entirely possible that exposure to people from around the world with the same unbalanced.
All right, I just wanted to bring up here that, they say that you have no idea unless you raise your kids up to tell you and to talk to you still. That's the biggest thing.
Right, to have, no fear of that.
Yes.
Interconnection.
That's the biggest thing.
I know it gets harder when they become a little bit more independent, to move out and start experiencing their own ideologies and having other influences. But your influence should have been so strong.
Yes.
So in those informative years, that there should be no questioning of that sort of nature, that deep.
Exactly
that would
right.
Change somebody,
Yes. I mean,
that's a parenting fail right there.
That is. It's a big parenting fail.
Views, deeply troubling, unbalanced views that this shooter seems to have, did radicalize him in a way that probably wouldn't have been possible if he'd walked down his street and looked for somebody who had a similar outlook.
He also talked about, Kash Patel did, in this tweet, investigating how the weapon was transported, the hand gestures observed as potential signals at the time that Charlie Kirk was shot. We know that one of those was from one of Charlie Kirk's mentors, Frank Turek. But there have been some videos posted on social media of people appearing to do certain things. We don't know what those meant. But he's saying, look, we're investigating everything. Do you think this is because they don't want conspiracy theories floating around, or simply because they're looking into whether anybody else was involved in this?
I think it's great to chase down every lead and release the information. Transparency breeds credibility. As you mentioned, the man in the white hat is Frank Turek, who's a well-known Christian apologist and very close to Charlie. He has already publicly said he was FaceTiming with his son and daughter-in-law at that exact moment because he was trying to say, look how crazy the crowd is. We have so many people here. This is exciting. He had previously FaceTimed with his wife, and now he was FaceTiming his son. So the man in the white hat holding the phone is not a signal. That's a father who's sharing with his son an exciting moment because his son was a fan of Charlie Kirk's. The clip of the man in the black shirt who was part of the security detail shows him just moving his arms and either scratching or touching his arm. It's about a second. And we all know that a second of video can be so misleading. It could be anything. The notion that there needs to be a signal belies the fact that the shooter had a scope and a clear shot and could shoot at any time he wanted to. There's no need for a signal because the shooter had a clear shot.
What does your gut as a prosecutor tell you? I mean, you're privy to the information we have publicly, the information filed by the prosecutor. Do you think potentially there were other people involved, or do you think it's just too soon to say?
It is too soon to say, but I completely dismissed the notion of signals. I hope that the FBI releases all the information that shows that that's ridiculous. But I was troubled that there was some chatter in some of these trans chat rooms that Charlie was in danger when he came to this college and that something bad was going to happen. Now, maybe that prediction happened every time he went to a college. That might be one explanation. But the notion of someone having it so much on the nose, that is worth a visit by federal investigators and other investigators, and someone should have to explain what led them to think that. As a prosecutor, I want my detectives and my investigators to do as much detailed work as possible before I go to grand jury, and certainly before I take it to trial.
And you're right. There were some tweets and some other things, some posts that are floating around out there. I have screen grabs of them where they say, Charlie, something's going to be bad's going to happen for Charlie Kirk on September 10th. And these were the day before, and saying Charlie Kirk dead at 31, things of that nature. That's really disturbing stuff. And these were days and days in some cases before the event. So it really makes you wonder what was going on there.
Yeah, when somebody is controversial, and it's a sad state of affairs when somebody who's speaking basic Christian faith tenets and basic American civics in a very civil way is controversial, but that's the time we're living in. When somebody is that controversial, other people come together and try to find a way to silence him. In this case, they thought they were going to silence the message, at least the shooter did. And others who were happy about it or maybe talking to the shooter about it may well have been plotting. And if they did, then charges are appropriate. But as a prosecutor, I live in a world of proof. I don't want to make claims I can't prove. And that's what the investigation is for.
Erica Kirk told the New York Times, despite the prosecution already saying, look, this is a death penalty case, we are pursuing the death penalty. She said she didn't want to be part of that decision. She didn't want to opine on that because she doesn't want that decision, the blood of that person on her hands. How much does somebody like Erica Kirk's, wishes factor in with a prosecutor? I mean, this is what she's saying, but she's leaving it up to them essentially. So as the prosecutor, that the defense attorney is going to come back and say, at this point, they're going to try to suppress all the evidence, of course, but they're going to try to save his life. That is going to be their end goal in a capital case. They're going to try to get the death penalty stricken. Do you just keep plowing forward with this? No deals whatsoever?
Well, the notion of what families want was a big issue in the Idaho 4 murders, which you covered probably better than any reporter, and you and I have discussed numerous times on this airway. And as a death penalty prosecutor, when I meet with families who've seen their loved one killed, I want them to say what they want to do, and I want to listen to that. But I always have to remind them that the charges are being brought by the state. Prosecutors don't represent individual people. Prosecutors represent everybody. And prosecutors have to make the best decision for everybody. So I think it was wise beyond her years for Erica to defer that to prosecutors because it is their decision. And although I want to hear what the victim's family says, I can't be bound by it.
Well, we will keep a close eye on it. We're looking forward to learning who's going to represent this guy, Tyler Robinson. Thank you so much, Mark Weaver, for your time. I appreciate it. Tyler Robinson remains in the Utah County Jail, being held without bail, and he'll be back in court next week. During his first court appearance last week, he only spoke when asked to state his name and showed little, if any, emotion. Meanwhile, Turning Point USA's American Comeback Tour, it's continuing. Monday night, the tour is going to the University of Minnesota Twin Cities for a rally event at that college campus. And that's it for this episode of Crime Fix. I'm Anjanette Levy. Thanks so much for being with me. I'll see you back here next time.
Hey, Sancho. We're just about done, too. Sorry about that. But no, I mean, this kid, he's going to get hit with the hardest. And from my understanding, it's going to be the death penalty, and they're talking about by firing squad. So, I mean, it's going to be big. We'll see what exactly happens. And just because, like they said, Erica doesn't want the death penalty per se. I mean, she wants them to decide, not, nobody else. I mean, she just doesn't want it on her hands. Love you too, Sancho. I'm so glad that you could stop in, even if it's just for a little bit. So yeah, I mean, we saw it all. There's a lot of different conspiracies going on here. There's a lot of different things to take into consideration. I mean, I'm interested to see about the what do you call it? The 20 people on Discord that they want to interview and try to find out about, because that would be big. So okay, I'm back up. My mic lost connection. It said your browser lost connection with your mic, and I had to unmute it and stuff. So anyway, weird stuff. But yeah, that's just what we know now, and I'll be fascinated to see what comes about later in the next couple of weeks, couple of months. I mean, we'll be back when we have more information. We'll talk about more.
Our next one is going to cover the callousness and evil that people have.
Yes.
Posting about this, the memes that are being made just hours after the incident.
Exactly.
The celebrations and all of this crap.
Yes, I mean, it's terrible.
You've got a pretty lively thread going on in Nicholas's now, too.
Yeah, I commented on Nicholas Bowling's latest one because he canceled one of the schools and made it for later. And I was just telling him to be careful, after what happened to Charlie, we don't need more stuff going down. And there was quite a few different people, and they're like, oh, Nicholas and Charlie are nowhere alike. And
that isn't even the point.
No.
Even if they aren't, he was silenced for speaking. And I just wrote this comment back in one of the threads too. It's like, he was silenced for speaking. Why would Nicholas be so far and few between that it wouldn't happen to him?
Exactly. That's just it.
A street preacher was shot and killed in 2023, and another street preacher was shot and killed in 2024.
Yeah.
Nicholas is being pushed around a lot more. He's getting his stuff broken, his stuff stolen. People are screaming in his face more than they ever have. Why is it so hard to think that that's not a possibility?
I know, exactly. That's my take exactly. And best wishes for him. I really hope that he
I mean,
continues.
like everything. I mean, everything is according to God's will, and if he's meant to be martyred as well, then he will be. But
Still, best wishes for him.
yeah, be aware. And,
Yeah.
Don't put yourself in unnecessary harm's way and shit.
Exactly.
It's crazy.
It is. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's all for tonight. Thank you for joining us on Woke Wednesday. I think you already left, Sancho, but thank you again for joining us. Namaste, ladies and gentlemen. Take care.